Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I was going to do a video on preparation before like a big storm, whether it's an ice storm or a snowstorm, thunderstorm, hurricane, something like that. And I really felt like the Lord was telling me that we should all really be prepping for an even greater storm. And it's not just a physical prep, it's not an emotional prep. It's more of it's a spiritual preparation. And I really started to think about this, and I've thought about this before in the past, just how conditioned we are as a society. And what I mean by conditioned, we are so dependent on a system that is not God's system. And that can be debatable. You know, I'm not saying that God does not work in and through this system, because he does, as much as we allow him to. But it's a broken system. And I personally believe the system's going to be judged. And the more we are dependent on it, or the more we rely on this system, the more we're going to feel the effects of his judgment. And even to the point to where even to the point of death, I personally believe. And you may be asking, what am I getting at here? What do I mean, even to the point of death? Well, I'm not saying that it's going to happen in our lifetime. It may be our children's lifetime. It may be their children's. I don't know. I believe something's coming. And we better be prepared for it. And I'll just leave it right there. And what I mean by death is just an example. There are so many different examples I could give, but just one. What if all of a sudden we no longer have the dollar, and they're wanting us to move to an all electronic system? I don't know about you, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going there. And that's going to be very, very difficult. I better know a way to survive without money. I better learn to barter real quick. I'm going to set this down. Hopefully without it sliding off. We got a lot of ice on the ground. But no, for real, y'all. This is serious. I'm not trying to put fear into anybody. But a lot of people aren't going to be able to make it without taking the mark of the beast. I'll just leave it there. And for y'all who don't know, there's a time coming where you will not be able to buy nor sell without taking that mark. And, well, if you take the mark, you will die. That's all there is to it. And not to put fear into anybody, but it is, it's real. It's prophesied. It's going to happen. So I'd like to spend a little time just sharing with y'all a few things that that we do around our homestead and around our just around our house in general, and I guess some of the things that we do in general to help prepare us from hate to say it, like, but I guess, you know, if something happened to the market, but that's not really the only reason why we're doing these things. Like, we're not just homesteading and getting back to the land because we're afraid the market's going to crash. We're not just hand pumping water from our well because we're afraid the market's going to crash. I certainly believe at some point in time the market will crash, and I believe that the dollar will be taken and things will move to an all electronic system, and I don't want to have anything to do with that. But we're doing these things and we're practicing certain things because we really feel drawn by the Lord to do so. So I would just encourage y'all to maybe sit down, make a list of things, of you know, how are you tied to a system? How are you tied to this system? So for us, our phone. We are tied to our phone, and our phone, it can be a blessing and a curse. And these things, I mean, once again, God can use each and every one of these things, right? He's God, and he can do whatever he'd like to do, and he does. The phone has been a blessing for us, but in many, many ways, the phone has been a curse for man. And I don't know about you, but how often do you look down and you're on your phone instead of, I'm guilty of it for sure. I'll be on my phone for an hour and can't open my Bible for 10 minutes. Why is that? It's because we've been conditioned. So if you're used to being on your phone hours, at a time, or several hours throughout the day, or I would practice not being on your phone so much. I would just start practicing that. So if something ever happened to the phone, you're not just going crazy. And so if something happens to the phone, you're not just going crazy. Like, think of it like this. You have you ever tried to just fast from something? Have you ever tried to go, say you try to go on a diet, and how hard it is to go on that diet, or how hard it is to go to the gym? It's like going against the grain. And that's kind of what I'm encouraging you to do, is go against the grain. So if the grain is going into town every day, try to practice not going into town every day. If the grain is going out to eat 5 times a week, try to slow down on that. I would encourage you to try not to do it as much. If the grain is using your electricity day in, day out, and that is very normal to us, then I would maybe even practice lighting a couple candles instead of turning on electricity. If you're used to your electricity for your only source of heat, then I would encourage y'all to maybe look into a wood burning stove. Anything you can do to really depend more on yourself and the strength that God gives you to do these things, instead of depending on a system. So that's my encouragement to all of you, is just to practice doing some of these things. And instead of leaning so much on this system, depend more on God, number one, and the strength that he gives you, and the wisdom that he can give you, and the understanding that he gives you. Depend on those things. Sorry about our dog. She must have spotted something. She'll bark over her own shadow. But anyway, I love all of you. I I don't want any of y'all to fail. You know, there's a very important scripture that stands out to me, and a lot of them are very important. My phone keeps cutting on and off. I wave in front of the camera, it shuts off. But so there might be a couple little cuts in the video. But there's a very important scripture, and it talks about the love of many will grow cold in the latter days. And that's scary, but I can see how it will happen. It's a slow fade. They're conditioning us to. The other day I went to or I say the other day, it's probably been a month ago or a month and a half ago, something like that. I went to the landfill to and usually we recycle and whatnot, but we just had a lot of garbage. When we bought this place, there was so much junk here. I mean, so much. We've been cleaning up for the past 10 months, or almost 10 months. But I went to the landfill, and the lady asked how I'd be paying, and I said cash. She said, well, we don't accept cash no more. I said, really? I said, well, why not? She said, well, they said they'd shut us down if we didn't, you know, accept this new system of all they take is credit card or check. That was scary. That was scary. And she said it's part of this whole cashless society thing. But the awesome thing about it was I had felt like the Lord was talking to me about this whole cashless, you know, going cashless, you know, and I had went to my bank that the next day. Like, I felt it one day. I was like, man, I wonder when this is all gonna. I mean, I've had thoughts about all this stuff for quite a while now, and I'm sure a lot of you have as well, but it was pressed hard on me. And I went to my bank the next day, and I asked them. I was like, hey, what do y'all think? What are your thoughts and opinions on this whole cashless society? You think it will ever happen, or you think we're a long way off? And they were just like, yeah, no, we just don't ever see it really happening. It would start a bunch of trouble, and it's like, yeah, it's gonna start. Yeah, it's gonna happen, you know. But and then from the bank, I went to the landfill, and then that happened, and I was like, wow. Well, maybe, just maybe, we're not as far off as we think. Something to think about. I don't know. So I'm gonna sound like Travis with Prepared Homestead now. Prepare, y'all. Get your house in order. Allow the Lord to rule and reign in every aspect of your life. Die to self. Die to self. Be humble. Be selfless. Be willing to move forward and to keep striving, keep fighting the good fight. Because it's getting nasty. We might not see it, but we see the rumors of war, and we see the war. It's happening, y'all. It's happening. We're slowly, and we have been, not just my generation, not just my parents, not just their parents, but this has been a slow, gradual thing. It's slow and gradual. That's how they get us. That's how they get us. Before you know it, I can just see it. You're going to go to the gas station, you're going to look up one day, and you're going to be like, man, all I ever use is my debit card. And you're going to be like, man, when was the last time I actually used cash on something? Come to find out, you can't use cash no more. but then you're going to be so conditioned to using that, you're going to think it's okay. Just watch it. Just watch it, y'all. I'm telling you, I don't want to, sound like a broken record here, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but please, a lot of you listen, a lot of you Christians, I'm telling you, the Lord told me many years back. He said, not only will it be hard for a Christian to become a Christian, but there's a time coming that it will be hard for a Christian to stay Christian. The love of many is going to grow cold. And we looked up that love, that word love, and that word was an agape love. That's the love from the Father. That's the love that is the most important love. Now, why would it say that? And if you would just with if you have any tips of your own that you would like to share with us, please share them with us. Please leave a comment, and please be nice. Please be nice. We're all trying to just help one another here. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm trying to keep them a little bit shorter. I know I can get the rambling sometimes. I take this serious, y'all. I take this serious. This is where we're at, and a lot of us we don't see it because it's such a gradual thing, and I just don't want to be caught in that pot while it's boiling. I just don't, and I know you don't neither. That's why I felt like the Lord wanted me to put this video out there, and just to be cautious and start to practice being humble and kind and honest. Practice being selfless and willing. Practice doing these things. Practice using candles instead of electricity. Practice, if you have the money to afford a simple pump, I would encourage to get a simple pump. They are an absolute blessing to have. We've used ours so much, and now we just, we'll use it just to use it. But so we're trying to get conditioned to live away from this other system, which is a good thing. It's a good thing, and we're trying to be conditioned to simply depend on God and His system and His ways. That's what we're trying to do here. So if you like the video, please, once again, like it, subscribe, share it if you would, please. And I guess you'll see us next time. Take care. Bye.